Thank you for tuning in to Entertain the Geeky, your source for nerd news.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Jason back at you with more nerd news. And a while ago we had our good friend Jams on the show, and we talked about who we think should play the XMen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And obviously it's goofy, right? Everybody does it, but we like to speculate because we're nerds, and we like to think who we think would be the best. In all reality, I don't care. I'm excited about the Fantastic Four and the X-Men being part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I'm excited about because they haven't really cast bad parts at this point, I don't think. But we did the X-Men, and joining me here today for the Fantastic Four side of things is Rodger.
Hi. Real quickly though, bad casting. Edward Norton, the Hulk.
Was that bad casting, or was Edward Norton just a douche?
Bad casting. I think looking at...
I don't think he did a horrible job.
I think Mark Ruffalo would have been a much better choice in that movie.
There's people online who have digitally changed scenes with Edward Norton to Mark Ruffalo in that movie.
Really?
Yes.
I'm in. I need to watch this movie. Because I'm in.
I don't think they did it for the whole movie, but I think they just took key scenes and put Mark Ruffalo in there instead.
Yeah.
So, we are here. We're going to talk about who we think should play just the core Fantastic Four characters, the ones we've seen in the movies so far.
And no budget or time constraints. We can pick any actor. Doesn't matter if they're in a project or not, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
yes,
make sure.
Absolutely.
All right.
I think you as well as me just went with the Fantastic Four, and then Doom.
Dr. Doom.
Right. And I thought about going Silver Surfer, but in all reality, just like Thing, Silver Surfer is going to be a mostly CG thing.
Yeah, so who could voice him?
Right, it's a voice thing.
Throw him in there. We can see who can voice Silver Surfer. Gary Oldman. Done.
Well, I already had Gary Oldman on my X-Men list to play Magneto.
Oh. Well, who plays Xavier on your X-Men list?
Patrick Stewart.
Because there's only one right answer.
Yeah, there was two that I kept from that list that were original. No. It was Patrick Stewart and Kelsey Grammer as Beast.
Well, yeah, Kelsey Grammer makes a perfect Beast.
He was in one of the terrible X-Men movies, but I think in a good X-Men movie, he could still kick ass as Beast.
Let's do Silver Surfer real quick.
See, I don't have that prepared.
That's
fine. You want to talk about Silver Surfer? You go ahead. Who do you think?
Liam Neeson.
Okay. Okay, I could see that. I could see Norrin Radd being voiced by Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
The problem is with those kinds of things, though. Ultimately, what they would do is they would use motion capture with Liam Neeson.
Yeah, and I think Liam Neeson could do it.
But you have to remember that means the Silver Surfer looks like Liam Neeson.
No, because the Silver Surfer,
go back to that Fantastic Four movie they had. That Silver Surfer looked like Lawrence Fishburne.
That Fantastic Four movie was bad.
Doesn't matter. They
don't have to, though.
But they will.
But they don't have to. They could go with the classic just mannequin. Because really, that's what Silver Surfer is.
He's a silver mannequin.
He's a silver mannequin that rides on an awesome surfer.
He doesn't have genitals.
Right. He's
not wearing clothes.
He's just a mannequin, and Liam Neeson is a good voice.
Liam Neeson could be a good voice. I'll give you that.
Yeah. All right.
What did you just look at the list of actors?
No, I was actually thinking about it. My first thought was Gary Oldman, and then I have a list of actors. I went Gary Oldman, and then I was just thinking about voices, and I was like, you know what, Liam Neeson. And as soon as I said that I will find you from Taken popped in my head, and hearing that voice giving us warning of Galactus coming, I think is awesome.
But see, I think that the Galactus thing, the Galactus story, what Norrin Radd did was Norrin Radd would lead Galactus to uninhabited worlds. He scouted the universe for uninhabited worlds. Galactus took note of Earth because of an event that happened on Earth. Norrin Radd didn't lead him to Earth.
No, but Silver Surfer showed up and said Galactus is coming. Like he was warning.
But as the Herald, he still had a conscience. Yes. He didn't lead Galactus to Earth. Yes, he did warn them that Galactus was coming, but his whole thing was he was leading them away from habited planets to planets that had nothing, so he could chow them down and everything would be good.
But eventually he was like, nope, I want to eat Earth. Nom, 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 nom.
Well, yeah.
But no, I think that's a good voice. I think
that could work.
That's a good voice.
In all reality, the episode of The Orville that had secret Liam Neeson cameo, do you remember that one?
No, which one was that? Because I don't think I've gotten that far.
No, that was in season 1. That was 3 episodes in.
I'm at the gender change episode, so I'm episode 3.
How have you... I thought you'd watched season 1 of The Orville.
Not all of it.
What?
Guy, I've been busy.
You're ridiculous.
I know.
There's a secret Liam Neeson cameo that I just spoiled for you.
Okay, I'm in.
And the first thing you hear is his voice. And as soon as I heard the voice, I was like, that's Liam Neeson. And then they pan the camera to the the screen where this guy's talking. It's like, of course, there it is. There's Liam Neeson in makeup and stuff. It's Liam Neeson. But you hear the voice and you immediately know that's Liam Neeson. Right?
Okay.
Like, I didn't need to see him to go, oh my God, is that Liam Neeson?
I think that's a good choice.
Yeah.
All right, so we've done Silver Surfer.
Let's do the casting call. I want to start with Dr. Doom. Because I feel like we can get Dr. Doom out of the way and then we talk about the family. But Doom, the reason I want to do Dr. Doom first is because Doom is not just a Fantastic Four villain.
No,
in fact, some of the greatest Avengers and X-Men stories have involved Doom as the villain.
Yes.
He's a villain for the whole Marvel Universe. And introducing him into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think, could be your next big thing. Right?
Yes.
Introducing Dr. Doom into the universe could be the next Thanos-type villain.
Yes.
Right? At first, you're introducing him from the shadows, and he's kind of pulling the strings, he's the puppet master, but then he becomes the villain. Right?
Yes. Who do you got?
I went with Oscar Isaac. And the reason I went with Oscar Isaac is because Doom in the comics is not a white man. Doom in the comics is an Eastern European man. Right? So he's not a white man. So I didn't want to put a white man in the role. I think that's ridiculous. And what those Fantastic Four movies did, the old Fantastic Four movies, I was like, so he's just a white guy? He doesn't even have an accent? He's not Latvian at all?
I mean, yeah.
So, also, I do think that Oscar Isaac needs a chance to play a good Marvel villain. Because he played Apocalypse in X-Men Apocalypse. And say what you will, that movie was divisive. Some people enjoyed it, some people didn't.
Those people enjoyed it, no problem.
I don't think it was a terrible movie. I just think it was ill-conceived.
It was better than X-Men 3.
It was better than X-Men 3.
It was okay.
There's a bar. There's a bar we can look at. And I like Oscar Isaac a lot. And I'm not just talking about within the confines of nerdy stuff, like he's Poe Dameron in Star Wars and he played Apocalypse. I'm talking about him as an actor. Right, the man can pull off a lot of different. He's versatile.
Right,
and so I think him as the Latvian dictator, right, this king of Latveria, could be a very interesting role for him because you get the regality of this role, and he's very good at being intimidating. And if you've seen some of his movies, you'll know what I'm talking about. So for me, I think Oscar Isaac could be a great Doom.
I went with the white guy. Because I picked a Danish actor.
Right.
And I looked him up. Mads Mikkelsen.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Mikkelsen is how you say his name. How did you not know his name was Mads Mikkelsen?
Because I know him as the Chief from Casino Royale and Hannibal from the TV show.
He's also the bad guy in Doctor Strange. He's also in Immortals. He's also in the remake they did of Clash of the Titans.
Yeah, no, there you go.
This guy's everywhere. How do you not know who this guy is?
I just know him from these two movies.
God, he's everywhere.
And
he was in one of the greatest Plague movies of all time. It was... God, I spaced it.
You can space all you want.
Yeah, it was a Plague movie, and it was fantastic.
Was it the one with Ben Affleck, not Matt Damon?
No, this was the one. This one had Sean Bean in it. In fact, Sean Bean gets ripped apart by a horse.
I was about to say Sean Bean dies, right?
Yeah, he gets ripped apart by a horse in the movie.
No, I think this guy, like seeing him playing the villain in Casino Royale, he's shown that he can do it, and then carrying the Hannibal TV series for three seasons.
Sure.
He's got that intellect down. He's got that. To me, Dr. Doom is very intellectual, but he's also civilized.
Sure.
And that like he's the essential villain. He's the I'm civilized. Da 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 da. I just have a different outlook on that. And this actor has shown that he can do that time and time again. And he creeps me out.
No, I agree. The only problem is Mads has already been a villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Care. You said it doesn't matter.
It does matter.
We'll put a mask on him. It'll be okay.
He was the villain in Doctor Strange.
Who do you play in Doctor Strange?
Caecilius, the villain, and the overall reason that Dormammu takes note of the universe is Caecilius.
Yeah,
he's the villain.
He's still a better Doctor Doom. Give him another shot. You picked your guy to be a bad guy already in a bad movie.
Well, no, I understand, but I also was looking at the idea of people that haven't already been in movies, right?
Yeah, I like my guy though.
No, if Mads wasn't already in the movie, he'd be a great Doctor Doom. We've already introduced him as Caecilius, and
well, you know.
Do I think Caecilius is dead in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dormammu ripped him apart, but he also could have become part of a collective that is Dormammu.
Dormammu did not like getting punked by Doctor Strange.
Well, no, that's the reason I like the ending of that movie. Is he uses his brains to win instead of punching. Yeah, he actually outthinks the villain
in a very cool way.
Yeah, in the time travel-y way. Yeah. Ooh. So we got Dr. Doom. Let's go to the Fantastic Four list and talk about Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, we both said the same thing, though you kind of knocked me.
I don't remember that.
So a long time ago, when Jason first came up with this idea, he called me. He goes, "We're going to do the Fantastic Forecast," and I said, "Jim from The Office." He's like, "No."
See, but again, I never watched The Office, so I might have been thinking you were talking about somebody else. Because John Krasinski, and when I looked up John Krasinski, I wasn't looking at The Office. Like, I was looking at movies he's been in.
Right. He's been in some good
and
movies.
kind of looking at some key scenes, because I'm kind of a weirdo. Like, if you looked at my YouTube
it's just nothing
history,
but scenes.
it's clips from all of these actors that are on my list right now.
Is it?
Because I looked at a lot of their clips, and I wanted to see... Because I started with, like, okay, I like this person, but I want to make sure I'm justified in thinking this is the right person, so I looked up clips from other movies.
Right.
And I'm a weirdo like that.
No, that's
I
totally
over-prepare for
fine.
everything.
That is totally
But so,
fine.
yes, after seeing some stuff that John Krasinski was in, not The Office, because I'd never watched that, I really think he could be a good Mr. Fantastic. He's young, but not too young. I feel like he can play the distinguished scientist guy well, because that's pretty much what Reed is. He's a scientist with superpowers.
Yes. Yes, he is.
He doesn't have to be over the top. He doesn't have to be brave and, barrel-chested. He's just a scientist with superpowers.
And I actually, and I think, first off, that was my first pick from the jump. I was like, boom.
Yeah.
As soon as you're like Fantastic Four, I was like, Krasinski, that's where we're at. But thinking about it after you shot those hopes and dreams down, just so you can snag that pick, I went with
Thanks.
I went with Anson Mount, and that is the Captain Pike from Star Trek Discovery. Because as much as I dislike Star Trek Discovery, even though I'm watching it every week, he is a very bright star in this show. Like, his character is very good. His acting ability to convey the intelligence that Captain Pike has, but that heartfelt of this is what I believe, and the idea of seeing him act that way towards protecting his family, which is what Reed Richards does.
Yeah,
like I think that seeing him take that role would be very awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not familiar with that actor, but yeah, I mean, I don't watch Star Trek Discovery, so.
He was also in Hell on Wheels. He was in Inhumans.
Oh yeah, he played.
I don't know.
Black Bolt.
Yeah.
He played Black
So,
Bolt.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't think about that. He
There
played
you go.
Black Bolt, and that was bad. So,
Well, was he bad?
yes, he was bad.
Really?
Yeah,
Man, he's so good in Discovery.
he was really bad playing Black Bolt.
Was everyone bad?
Yes.
Okay.
Everyone was bad.
All right, then. All right.
It was a bad show.
Okay.
It was a bad script.
Okay.
They had bad lines, plot holes. It didn't make a lot of sense within the concept of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
He was also in Hell on Wheels, which was actually a really good Western show. He's in Pool Hall Junkie as well. But yeah, no, he's seeing him as Pike, and that just works for me.
That's where you drew that Mr. Fantastic comparison.
Yeah, was watching him portray Pike.
Okay, so next we go to Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman. For me, and I have a real reason behind this, right? I like Emma Stone. I do. I think she's a versatile actress. I think she can do dramatic things. I think she can do comedic things. I think she's a good actress. And she had the misfortune of being in two terrible Amazing Spider-Man movies. They were just not good movies. No matter what you want to say.
They were not.
There are Tobey Maguire movies that were better than both of those movies.
All three Tobey Maguire were better than those movies.
No, Spider-Man 3 was not better than Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes, it was.
No. Amazing Spider-Man actually gave me hope that they could make a good Spider-Man franchise.
No. When he
two killed it.
No, when he caught the football and threw it, and everyone was like, "Oh, you're so cool, Peter Parker." I went, "Yeah."
Peter Parker's not cool.
Exactly.
Not cool. He's a nerd.
Yeah.
But
as much as we want nerds to be cool.
But as much as I don't like those movies, Emma Stone as Felicia Hardy was great. She did a great job. She played the character as I envisioned the character should be played in a movie.
Yeah.
She understood the character, and that showed me that she has the versatility to engross herself into a comic role and actually really make it real. And that's why I think she'd be a good Sue Storm.
I went with Emily Blunt.
I'd already cast Emily Blunt as Jean Grey.
That's not my fault. You took all the good
list.
actresses for X-Men.
Emily Blunt is great. I agree with you. That she could also play Sue Storm. I think she'd be great as Jean, but she could also be great as Sue.
I think she could bring, Emily Blunt could do something with Storm that is very hard to do, and that is make Sue stand out. And that's something that's very hard to do in a character. In the Fantastic Four is she is Sue, she's Reed's wife, mother, all that. But Emily Blunt could bring something to this character to make her actually stand out as someone on her own. Like, this is why she is who she is.
Right.
This is the power she has.
Right.
And I think she's an amazing choice. Not that Emma Stone's not.
No, yeah.
Emma Stone's a great choice.
That's not what we're talking about. Yeah. We're looking at the differences between what you thought versus what I thought.
Right. I think Blunt is the one to go with at that point.
No, when I was looking at the female X-Men, right? When I was looking at the cast of the X-Men women,
right?
She was on the list always. She was always on my list.
Who'd you pick for Storm?
Jada Pinkett Smith.
I was just about to say it's not Jada Pinkett Smith.
It is. I like Jada Pinkett Smith a lot, and again, she's one of those actresses that has had the unfortune of being in some really shitty movies.
Yes,
like she's got a bad agent or something. I don't know what's going on, but I liked her in the Matrix movies, even though those Matrix sequels were bad. But she was good in them. Yeah. Not to mention she's a little older, and I always envisioned Storm as the mother of the X-Men.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel about Sue. Because obviously she is a mother.
She is the mother, yeah.
Emily Blunt's a little older, and she's still, she's a good actress.
Yeah,
she's just a little ball of adorableness. And if you get your way, and Jim's cast is Mr. Fantastic, they're already married, so the on-screen chemistry's there.
There you go. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Torch.
Oh man, Torch was a tough one.
So you got to go younger, right? Because
obviously
he's supposed to be the younger brother of Sue Storm. So you go with somebody a little younger. Go ahead. Who'd you get?
I honestly was hoping we could cast a no-name. To be honest with you, like just pick somebody.
Unknown.
Like, and I know because I think it's a good breakout role. But on the flip side, throw another Hemsworth boy in there. Liam's not doing nothing.
Liam cameoed in Thor Ragnarok, playing Thor in the Tragedy of Loki. That was so fun. And then we had Matt Damon playing Loki in the play. That was the best. Yes.
Like Liam Hemsworth works for me at this point.
Sure.
Or honestly, maybe Iwan Rheon, the guy from Game of Thrones, who played what was his name? The one that Sansa had to marry the second time. Lord Bolton.
Oh, Ramsey.
Ramsey, yeah.
Yeah, he was also in that Inhuman show. And
was he?
He's not really that good of an actor.
Man.
Yeah. He played Star-Lord.
Yeah.
I'm losing my mind. He played Black Bolt's brother.
Well, maybe everyone was bad in that show because it was just a bad show.
I mean, that could be too, but they were all showing their acting chops a little bit too, and they're not good.
I mean, he's good in Games of Thrones.
He's good as the bad guy.
Yeah.
When he tried to play Maximus the Mad, he was a little flat.
Little flat.
Yeah,
a little flat.
It's not really engaging. Didn't really care about him.
All right, who'd you pick?
So I went with Josh Hutcherson, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
First, I'll tell you who, because you look confused. Josh Hutcherson is the love interest from the Hunger Games story.
I know who Josh Hutcherson is. That's just a name that I didn't expect.
Right. And here's I'm going to elaborate. Right.
Okay.
So yes, the Hunger Games movies notwithstanding, right? Like he was in all of them. He did a good job. People liked those movies. They made a lot of money. Whatever.
Right.
There's a show on Hulu, an original series on Hulu called Future Man.
Okay.
With Josh Hutcherson as the lead.
Okay.
These people come back in time to a younger version of this guy, like John Connor style story, right? Where we have to help you because you need to be this guy in the future, and we want to ensure that happens. And
interesting.
It's hilarious. And he's very funny in it. And I think when I got to see him unchained from the Hunger Games, I was like, you actually, when you get to kind of flex your acting muscle a little bit, you're actually pretty funny, right? Like, and Johnny, for me, Human Torch is a character that has to be likable.
He has to be funny.
He has to be your quipping, joking guy like Tony Stark, right?
Yeah, because him and Peter Parker, that's their thing.
And Future Man, if you've not watched it, and I've not watched it all, I've only watched a few episodes because I was just kind of trying it out to see what it was like, is funny. He's very funny in it. He's actually one of the reasons to watch it, right? The people that come back from the future, they're hilarious. They will crack you up because they just kind of don't understand. They've only known the world they came from. They don't understand this world that he lives in because it takes place in present day.
Okay. I'm in.
It's funny, and he's funny in it. And so that, to me, when I was looking at young actors that could play the role, when his name popped up, I was like, why do I know that name? And I was like, oh, Hunger Games. Future Man. Yes. And I thought, this guy, he's funny, he's entertaining, he'd be a great Johnny.
Okay.
And he's younger, right? He's a younger guy.
Yeah.
So the last one we come to is obviously the heart and soul of the team, the Thing.
So I gave you my answer earlier. I think I'm going to change it.
Oh, we're switching the game.
I'm switching the game up a little
All
bit.
right.
Who's yours?
Mine was Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Which is so good. Here's my question, because this actually are we doing an origin story? Or are we just assuming hey, it's the Fantastic Four? Because it matters in what I'm about to say.
I think they're going to do an origin story because I think, again, not an origin story in the way that the whole movie's going to be devoted to building the team. But I think an origin story that ties into the events of Endgame could work really well because they're altering the universe.
Right.
And
that's how they get mutants.
Right. That could alter reality, right? So it could alter...
Well, that's what that stone does.
Mutants. And you could have a backstory built into the idea that these 4 people were in a space station or on a spaceship investigating some anomalous thing, and all of a sudden they got hit with this universe-changing wave, and it altered their DNA.
If it's just the voice... Clint Eastwood.
Right, but you got to remember, when we look at motion capture from Marvel, Mark Ruffalo can be seen in the Hulk.
And I think Clint Eastwood's face works for the Thing.
I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan's face
I know, it's a hard fight. It's a hard fight.
When you look at actors that would be signed to multi-picture deals...
Oh, he definitely can't.
Clint Eastwood can't be signed to multi-picture deals.
But we're assuming he lives forever. We're assuming Clint Eastwood, that voice, and as he's gotten older, he's brought a softness to his voice. It's not as hard-edged as it once was.
Oh,
and you hit it rather than when he's at the heart of the Fantastic Four, the Thing. And that old Clint Eastwood voice works.
So who did you have before that, then?
Idris Elba, and before that, Michael Chiklis.
Yeah.
I went the whole thing. But when I was looking up Dr. Doom, I saw Clint Eastwood, and I went, man, that voice would work very well.
Like I said, you got to remember, we can see Josh Brolin in Thanos. We can see Mark Ruffalo in Hulk. We will be able to see the actor who plays Thing in Thing.
And I can see Clint Eastwood covered in rock face.
I could too, right?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is obviously a better choice.
It's not about him being a better choice. It's about Clint Eastwood's just too old. You know what I mean? You can't count on the fact that if you sign this guy to do 5 movies, he's actually going to be available to do all 5 of them.
I get that, but I'm assuming he lives forever at this point.
No, he's not gonna. He's getting up there, man.
78?
No, he's past the 80
is he?
At this point. Yeah, I think he's 82. I mean, he's up there.
He is up there.
Yeah, he's an old man.
Yeah.
You seen him recently? I mean, he really looks like an old man, too, now.
Yeah.
All the things that made him the gruff, guy are kind of fading away, giving way to old people.
Just record all the lines that you might possibly need him to say for the next 4 movies.
I don't think that's going to work.
And we're good to go.
I don't think that's going to work.
And we're good to go.
So the only other thing I can think of, and this we'll touch on this before we finish up here, is the idea of telling a story about the Fantastic Four that already has moved beyond the origin, right? So telling the story of the family, but also Valeria and Franklin Richards, their children, right?
Yeah.
I think that could be a very real possibility because that would immediately separate this from other attempts to make the Fantastic Four into a movie.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
The question then becomes, how did they get their powers prior to this? Are we going to go into that at all, or are we just going to say these people had powers and they were hiding? I
hope they kind of just treat it like Spider-Man.
But Spider-Man wasn't hiding. Spider-Man was out in the open being Spider-Man.
Right, but if this thing, they got their powers because of the snap or the reversal of the snap. One, it's a very just simple of the Fantastic Four, especially if you're dealing with the fact that because of Endgame, because of let's be honest, because of the Disney Marvel buyout, the Disney Fox buyout, it actually hits the MCU in ways that you don't really know, and you can't go back and explain everything. Mutants have always been there. Will be the new code thing. The Fantastic Four can always be there. And they weren't in hiding. They were just on them. We just never cared about them.
Sure.
Because we're dealing with post-snap.
Right.
We're dealing with...
But the idea of retconning a lot of these things in order to fit...
It's not really retconning.
It adds more and more layers that can then be picked apart, right?
But it's not retconning. It's we snapped. Half the universe turned to dust. We went and we unsnapped. And because of that, you can never go back to once was. So now it's just what is.
Sure, and that could be a very logical reason to get these characters into the story in a nice little cookie cutter way. The question then becomes, do you tell the story of them younger, or do you go into the future and you tell this? In all reality, you can have Reed and his whole family come from an alternate reality.
You could.
Reed is the guy who discovered alternate realities in the Marvel Universe.
He's the reason there was 2 pizzas. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he's the guy who discovered alternate realities. The ultimate Reed is, hell, we all left Rick and Morty. The idea of the Council of Ricks came from the idea of the Council of Reeds.
Yeah.
All these different Reeds from the different multiverses who had banded together to police themselves.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of crazy if they're left unchecked.
Yeah.
Reed has almost ended the universe with his inventions. You know what I mean? So you could easily have the Fantastic Four just come in from another universe because they took note of some crazy event that happened in our Marvel Cinematic Universe. Which is the whole galactic change.
Yeah. And
right?
then weird change back.
Right, and so Reed becomes curious, and he comes to this world. He decides to stay here and study it. And now the Fantastic Four are part of this.
And Sue is just pissed because she wants to go home.
Mutants are a lot harder, right? This idea of mutation is a lot harder. Unless you're going to say that the unsnapping, or whatever you want to call it, can change the DNA of those that it snapped out of existence before.
Well, it also depends on how many...
Because if you do that, you have to apply that to all the people that have been snapped out of existence that we know of.
Right.
Right? People that we're familiar with, like Falcon and,
Falcon's a mutant now.
I don't think that's how it works.
I mean, he's a mutant now.
No, I think that's how it works.
But here's the thing, we also unlike it's now we're just putting a name to these things because we already have mutants in the MCU. They're just not mutants. How did Quicksilver have his powers?
The Soul Stone or the Mind Stone.
Quicksilver, not Vision.
The Mind Stone.
Quicksilver
and Scarlet Witch's powers came from experiments with the Mind Stone.
Well, this is just stupid.
Did you miss the post-credit scene of Captain America: Winter Soldier? Because their powers came from the Mind Stone.
Well, maybe the breaking of the Mind Stone makes mutants. I don't.
In all reality, the whole reason Scarlet Witch was the one who could destroy the Mind Stone is because her powers come from it.
Well, I'm just done now. I don't know.
There was no one else that could have done that.
I don't know. I'm just done. Screw it. Marvel, you screwed up. You messed up. You messed up, Ron.
Again, the question is, how do we integrate these characters in properly?
I just want them to always be there, so I don't get an origin story.
I don't think you need an origin story, but I think you have to go with maybe the Ultimate Universe idea of the X-Men, right? The X-Men exist, the mutants exist, but the school is hidden. Professor Xavier in the Ultimate Universe, for the first 20 years he was doing this, kept the school hidden behind a very sophisticated hologram. It just looked like a prep school. Right? So this idea that they could have been here all along, just hiding, is actually a very viable idea when you include the Ultimate Universe.
Okay.
As a break, or as a kind of a draw point for these characters. So you could have a scenario where the X-Men have existed for 20 years and we just didn't know it. Because they've just been kids at a school. But now the kids are adults.
Except people know, like
and the world has changed.
But the world would know about mutants.
I mean, sure. But again, are they important? Or are they important now that there's a mutant strike force called the X-Men?
I mean, mutants were always important before the X-Men were formed. Or, by origin speaking, the X-Men were formed as a way to fight the injustice that was coming from onto the mutants.
Well, no, the X-Men were formed to defend the world from Magneto, who decided humans were the
No, the reason
past.
Xavier started this go was to keep mutants safe from bigoted humans.
No.
We should have
maybe the school, yes, but the formation of the X-Men came when a threat from their own kind emerged.
And I want to see that bigotry. Though it makes no sense in the X-Men.
Right?
It makes no sense in the MCU, but hey.
Why is Cyclops a monster and Captain America's not?
That's what I've said from the beginning, which is why mutants don't make sense.
It doesn't. It doesn't make sense. But guess what? They didn't just spend $70 million,
$70 billion.
Whatever the hell it was.
It was a lot.
Buying characters that they're not intending to use.
It wasn't just characters. They bought TV stations.
They did. They bought everything except Fox Sports and Fox News.
Yeah. So
they bought everything.
They own Alien. They own Buffy.
They're like the majority stakeholder in Hulu now.
Yeah. They're just a monopoly.
Well, this country's built on monopolies, man. I hate to tell you.
Yeah, but
it's not fair. But it's how it is.
But the good news is the Alien Queen's now a Disney princess.
That's true.
And so is Ripley.
That's true.
It's all good news.
Princess Leia before them became a Disney princess.
Yeah. Interesting postscript. Alien Anniversary is 40 years this month.
Yeah, they were supposed to have another Alien movie out this year.
Instead they just did a bunch of short stories.
Yeah,
short films.
Yeah, they were supposed to have the sequel to Covenant, but Covenant didn't do well for them.
And Ridley Scott's kind of being wishy-washy on doing it.
I mean, because
and also the buyout.
Well, right,
buyout.
But also, they weren't going to plan new movies while the buyout was going on. They had movies that they'd already made that are going to be coming out.
Yeah, are we getting New Mutants?
That's actually way up in the air.
How do they can that one?
Rumors are for that movie has had horrible test screenings. People have just not liked it at all.
Hey, so did Dark Phoenix, but that's still coming out.
Actually, Dark Phoenix showed off a whole bunch of footage, actual scenes from the movie at WonderCon, and apparently the response was hugely positive. The response was like, damn, this actually might be a good movie.
I'd like to point out at one point we thought X-Men 3 was going to be a good movie.
That's true, but these people saw actual scenes from the movie. They basically saw, I think, the first 20 minutes of the film.
Well,
in the first 20 minutes of the film, she becomes the Phoenix, bro.
Yeah, but the first 20 minutes of
the film opens with them flying a blackbird into space.
The first 20 minutes of the film is always fine. It's what follows that 20 minutes that really makes or breaks a movie.
I'm just saying that what people have seen of them in space, dealing with this problem, Phoenix becoming, Jean becoming Phoenix, everyone thinks it's at least leaned in the right direction now.
You know what I think I'd like to see, I know this is way off topic though, is when they eventually retell the Phoenix story, they do it right. And not make like, the Phoenix and instantly make the Phoenix bad. People forget the Phoenix was actually okay for a while.
She was Phoenix for a long time in control of it.
Yeah. And then boom,
eventually the darkness infects you, and it's especially infected someone on Earth because we as humans, we hide a lot of darkness.
Right, and I think I wish they would just do it like that, because then we could invest in the Phoenix, and then when the turn happens, it's like,
It's like when Anakin turns on Obi-Wan.
Yeah, but yeah.
You want to feel the weight of
You just want better acting.
Well, yeah. That could have been way better. That fight scene was really awesome.
The fight scene was awesome.
And they choreographed that fight scene.
And
that wasn't CG, man. That was actually them fucking...
Wah.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, they choreographed. You watch the behind the scenes, man. You can see them rehearsing it, and then actually filming it on the green screen sets and stuff.
Back when actors was acting.
Well, back when you learned how to do this because your character knows how to do it. So you spend time with a teacher and you learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Because that's the fun of it, right? If you're doing a movie about surfing, wouldn't you want to learn how to surf?
No, because CGI takes care of it.
Well, I don't want to see. I want to learn how to surf.
Well, you're not an actor. So you can go learn how to surf.
Well, we still have creators in Hollywood that still do that. Christopher Nolan, relies mostly on practical effects, and he prefers his actors to learn how to do the things their characters should be doing. Right?
Yes.
In Marvel, even. I mean, how many of the actors that we now look at, as our heroes, Captain America, Iron Man, spent a lot of time early on learning how to fight like a hero.
Well, also CGI wasn't as prevalent. It wasn't as advanced.
But you look at Brie Larson. I mean, she did so much training for Captain Marvel for her fight scenes and stuff like that. These are her. It's not a stunt double. It's her on screen kicking ass.
I'm going to cry when Captain America dies. So you're going to have to hold me.
We'll see how that goes. There's going to be a lot of people that need some holding. I might need some holding, for God's sake.
We're all just like at the end of
group hug.
At the end of the end game, the entire team that doesn't move, they just turn around and start holding each other. Yeah. Just a big circle hold.
Yeah. All right, but those are our ideas about who should play the Fantastic Four. Honestly, I could care less. I trust in Marvel. They have not really. There's only a couple of examples of bad casting, and in all reality, most of that comes from the villain side of things. In all reality, I like Christopher Eccleston quite a bit, but he was the wrong choice for Malekith. Hindsight's 20/20. We can look back at that, but even at the time, I was like, I don't think that guy's gonna be a good Malekith.
I mean.
Also, Malekith was wrote very poorly in that movie storyline. So have they been on par all the time? No. But most of the time when casting the heroes, the stars, they really have hit the mark.
But they did think about it. We look at it now with Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth,
Mark Ruffalo,
Scarlett
Johansson.
Well, yeah, but those three,
Jeremy Renner,
those first three right there, that was a risk. I mean, Chris Evans was already a Marvel character.
Yeah.
And Chris Hemsworth was an unknown. Keep in mind, he did Cabin in the Woods a year or two before, and they hadn't released that movie because they're there's really no main stars in this.
Right.
And the reason that movie got released is because, Thor. And Robert Downey Jr. was a drug addict and an alcoholic. So, I mean, he was the perfect choice to play Stark, but it was still a risk.
Right. But I feel like, as we've gone along, Paul Bettany, right, as Vision. Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch. Anthony Mackie, Falcon, right? Sebastian Stan, Bucky.
Paul
Rudd, Ant-Man.
They've gotten better with their casting.
These are good choices and have proven in the long run. Benedict Cumberbatch, for God's sakes. They worked around his schedule shooting something else so he could be a part of the movie.
Yeah.
They were like, look, we don't want to cast anybody else.
It was Sherlock.
Right. We'll work around whatever schedule you got going on, and we'll have a stand-in for you when you're not here. That's fine. And that's what they did. There's a lot of shots in Doctor Strange and in Infinity War where Doctor Strange is a different guy with Benedict Cumberbatch's face CG superimposed on that body because he wasn't there. He was busy.
Busy filming Sherlock.
But they love him so much for the role that they are willing to do whatever they have to keep him on board.
Well, they have the money to do so.
Absolutely. So I think what they've shown us is they know what they're doing. They understand what actors will portray these characters the way they want them to be portrayed. And I think that's a very interesting thing, too, is to look at the concept that they know who these characters are. Right? So when they're looking for someone that can portray these qualities, they can be a little more selective.
Yeah.
Right? They can limit the scope and talk to themselves about who do we think should play this character, just like we do here, and then reach out to that actor and say, look, we want you to do this. We don't want to hold auditions. We want you to do this.
Right. But
Right.
we all agree Patrick Stewart should always play Xavier.
I do think Patrick Stewart should always be Professor Xavier.
It's not that McElroy did a bad job.
McAvoy. Yeah, McAvoy's fine.
He's fine. He's just...
Patrick Stewart is the dad of the X-Men, right? Like,
Yeah.
Xavier is their dad, basically. Yeah. He raised these kids.
Yeah.
He's their dad, and Patrick Stewart does that really well.
I want Patrick Stewart to be
I want him to be my dad. I'd take Patrick Stewart as a dad any day. But I love my dad.
It doesn't matter. It's Patrick Stewart.
It's Patrick Stewart. My dad would understand.
Every day be like, yep.
My dad would understand. If I said, I'm swapping you out for Patrick Stewart, he'd be like, all right.
I get it. I get it.
All right, so that's going to bring us to the end here, guys. Thanks for sitting in with us, being goofy, and talking about who we think should play these characters. If you're digging what we're putting down, do me a favor, head on over to entertainthegeeky.com. There's some new podcast episodes that are going to be going up this week, and some new content as well with some trailer breakdowns and things like that.
Even if you don't dig what we're throwing down, go over there and let us know that you don't like it.
I mean, yeah, I welcome any feedback, negative or positive. About what we're doing, because in all reality, do I know what I'm doing is what you want to listen to? No. If you don't tell me, I won't know. But, so, there's plenty of places you can tell us. We got the website where you can leave comments on the various things that we do. You can head on over to the Facebook page where all the articles and podcast episodes are linked. It's facebook.com/entertainmentgeeky. Twitter is the same. All the stuff gets linked there as well at twitter.com/entertaingeeky. And then we are on Instagram where we drop pictures and various cool things. I mean, I know me personally, I'm the kind of guy that when I see a cool image and I'm using a social media platform that's basically picture-based, I want to share it with people.
He's out there.
Yeah. So we're there as well at Entertain Geeky. So we're going to see you guys next time. We've got some Entertain the Geeky stuff and some nerd news stuff that's going to be going up. So keep your ears out for that. Until then, next time, guys, stay geeky.